Hi, I'm Michelle with Beautycounter, and today I just want to talk to you a little bit about why Beautycounter is not all organic and all natural. And these terms that are sometimes thrown around in the industry, we don't consider ourselves any of those. And to be clear, organic, natural, even safe are terms that are not regulated in the industry, and that's what we're kind of pushing for more regulations in the industry in the first place, so that these terms can be plopped on products and you don't really know if they truly are all organic or all natural or what that even means because they aren't regulated. Also take into consideration that organic and natural ingredients are not necessarily safe, and vice versa. Just because an ingredient is not organic or not natural does not mean that it is unsafe. And so what Beautycounter is doing is trying to make sure that they screen ingredients for safety, to make sure that if it's an organic ingredient or it's not an organic ingredient, that it's safe first and foremost. And then do we need it in a product? So every single ingredient that we put in a product, we ask ourselves, do we need it? Does it really need to be in that product? Let's not just throw a filler in there if we don't really need it. And then, of course, it has to be high performing when they all come together. And we even check for things like how interactions with ingredients in a product, if they are safe, because you have to also consider that just because an ingredient is safe, if it interacts with another ingredient, it could cause an unsafe reaction. If it interacts with some of the product packaging materials, it can create an unsafe reaction. And so a product might not be formaldehyde. It might be labeled formaldehyde free, but you might not understand that there's a reaction going on that creates a formaldehyde type reaction by an ingredient that's in a certain product mixing with the packaging or other ingredients or so forth that creates some kind of unsafe, harmful reaction. And so Beautycounter takes that all into consideration. And so while we don't consider ourselves all natural, all organic, we do try to be as safe as we can with the information that we have. And we take the European Union's banned 1,300 ingredients. We take the US's measly 11 ingredients that we've restricted. And then we also do studies and conduct our own studies and look into data and pull data on other ingredients that we have then placed either on a ban list or needs more research, or that we feel comfortable using. And we're constantly looking for new data and updating these lists so we can try to be as safe as possible with what we know. But we also don't just assume that just because an ingredient doesn't have safety data that it's okay to use, which is how it's typically been in the personal care and cosmetic industry, that an ingredient, while it hasn't been regulated, must be safe, or it hasn't been tested, it must be safe. Well, that's just not true. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of ingredients that have not been tested in the US and are still used in products, and we've just always assumed that just because it's on the shelf of one of our retailers that somebody somewhere along the lines has made sure that it's safe, and it's just not the case, unfortunately. And so that's what Beautycounter is trying to do, to push for regulations to make sure that the products that we are making are as safe as possible while still high performing, and that we are transparent about every single ingredient in a product, that we source responsibly. We've seen lately some companies that are trying to be natural, that are trying to be more safer, that they have gotten in trouble because of their sourcing, that they thought that the ingredient and that the product was safer, that it didn't include certain ingredients, when in fact it did, because somewhere along the line in the sourcing chain, the manufacturing chain, somebody wasn't being honest. So we try to make sure that all of our manufacturers are as honest as possible. We do our best to screen this as much as possible, given the resources that we have. We're not perfect, we never claim to be, but we are doing the best that we can with the resources that we have, and I think that's far better than probably 90-something% of the companies out there, if I'm going to guess, because I've done a lot of research since I got pregnant with my first child in 2012, constantly on my phone, trying to buy products, trying to make sure things are safe, and having just a hard time spending so much time, where if I had had Beautycounter back then, that would have saved me so much time, because they're doing all the work that I was trying to do myself when looking up brands and products. And I know that they're being transparent, and I know that they're being as safe as possible. But also keep in mind, safe and transparent are terms that are not regulated in the industry either. So you have to really trust the company and trust the brand and find one that you know works for you, whether that's safety, performance, organic, natural, certain ingredients that you're looking for, that sort of thing. Make sure that the company is doing what you need it to do for your lifestyle, and hope that helps.